If I'm not there, my first wife is the last say.
In everything.
In everything. If my first wife is not there, my second wife is the last say.
Who is the minister of discipline?
We don't have a minister of discipline.
You are the modern day King Solomon. You must put it in there.
I wish I'd met him earlier.
Oh, was. All right, ImeTheFinest here. Welcome to the channel. So on this channel, we have introduced a new show inside the Mapfundes. Today, those who are in the polygynous setup, say, we are joined by Gabriel Mapfunde. Takatombo interview, so you can check it out on this platform. So today we are talking about managing finances and gender roles in the polygynous setup. Koma Gab, thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you for inviting me again. I'm glad to be on this show again.
Yeah, it's been long. So we'll be doing it every week. We'll be producing every week, talking about different topics here on this platform. So firstly, we want to understand what are the benefits and the challenges of having multiple wives in terms of the family dynamics.
The family dynamics.
Yeah.
Okay. You went straight to the point. I think...
let's start with the benefits.
Right. There's quite a number of my benefits, a lot of benefits that comes along with having a multiple or plural family. Like in our case, you have, I'll start with the obvious one, multiple incomes. So like, rather than to have my own income as being the one that's dependent on the family, now I have my wives who also bring in into the pool, into the family pool, what we call the family pool. So it's an advantage. Those are the benefits. There's division of labor. When I say division of labor, especially in the modern day, the things that we do, they tend to be very, very much demanding. Work issues, having to attend school runs, having to do maybe cooking, the wife duties, for example. Let me give the wife duties. I strongly believe women tend to have a lot of, especially the career and the working women, they tend to have a lot of duties or a lot of things that are expected of them. But then in our case, they share those duties now. You understand what I mean? Someone has to do school run, someone has to attend to, if someone is attending the clients or she's got a meeting, then she's going to reassign, someone is going to cover up for them. So as a family, these are the benefits that we tend to have as compared to a monogamous family.
Well, so before we jump to the challenges of having plural family or of having multiple wives, let's talk about, you mentioned about the income
multiple
side.
incomes, yes.
Multiple income. So we want to understand also, because vanhu vazhinji vanoti also mukadzi akawana mari, it's her money, but murume akawana, it's his money. So we want to understand how do you balance that?
Yeah. Definitely we have retained sorry. Definitely we have retained that understanding to say, obviously there's what we call Mariamai, and then that's why I mentioned when I mentioned earlier, I said family pool. So this is how it is like. A woman has got two, like suppose that she gets money, right? She has two pools that she's putting, money for herself and money to the family. So let me give you an example of how we do it. Because remember, we are in different fields, in different, we even our monies, they come differently.
It's full of professionals.
Yeah, I mean, we're in different fields. So the way it is, there's a certain percentage that that I'm going to invest or to put into the family pool. The family pool being, in this case, which is me. I'm the CEO of the family pool. You understand what I mean? So if someone has got, probably they have made a sale in their real estate or something, right? They do their own breakdown. Every of my family members, they have their own personal breakdown. So after that personal breakdown, on your breakdown, you're supposed to include a percentage to the family pool. You understand what I mean? I also do the same thing. Starting with me, I have to lead by example. So on the monies and on the incomes that come through, I know there's a certain amount that I'm supposed to put in the family pool. Now, that family pool is the rotating fund. So for example, some of my wives are entrepreneurs. Now they've got a big order they want to deliver to a client. You understand what I mean? They can just borrow from the family pool, take that money, and then when they are done with their order or done there, they can always return. If someone wants to, probably, you are responsible that week, you are the one who's on duty in the kitchen, and probably your finances are not up to date. You just borrow from the family pool, and then when your finances are also, so it's like, it's like money rotate. The family pool it makes sure that there's always money in the family, and it also assures that no one gets stuck. So I can actually go and borrow from the family pool, do what I want to do. When my deal goes through, I can always return. You understand what I mean? So this is sort of how we're doing it. And yeah, Saka, at the end of the day, to answer you, definitely women obviously need to retain that independence to say I have bought women stuff that I don't understand, eyelashes, I don't know, whatever. Women want to buy their own stuff. So that's why we say do your own breakdown. Then the last you do on your breakdown always include a little percentage of where you contribute to the family pool.
Got it. So let's go back to the challenges of having plural family. What are those?
The dynamics and the challenges.
Yeah, the challenges.
Mostly the challenges that we have to overcome: communication breakdown. Remember, these are different individuals from different backgrounds with different thinking, and you are in the process of trying to merge all that thinking into one unit. You understand what I mean? So it's not always an easy road. It's a bumpy road, obviously. The other challenge that I would say as a man that I face, not to say anything bad about women, but women are emotional beings. So you need to always be probably riding above women's emotions. Because, if you tend to be behind their emotions, it will crush you. So those are some of the challenges that you have to sort of like overcome, where, these are emotional decisions. So how can we translate these not from emotional decisions, but to decisions that can benefit the individual and the family? So this is what I do. So what do we do? Conflict resolution. You become a master of conflict resolution. If you're a plural man, definitely you become a master of conflict resolution. How to solve conflict, how to move forward, how to make decisions that benefit the person, the people that are disgruntled and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you secured a deal and you get money. Who would you surrender it to amongst your wife? So imunosvambisa say munoipa ani mari.
All right. So ideally, and I'll repeat, ideally, it's supposed to be. I would recommend every family, a plural family, to have a trust fund. It's neutral ground. But like in our case, before the trust, like for example, in our case, before the trust fund and before all the dynamics of having where you put it, in my case, I trust all of them. So I'm very random. I don't have anyone specifically that I say this one is the one who holds the money. Do you get it? If I'm with most of the times I might be with any of my wives. So if I go to the deal with my wife, right, and we do the deal together, obviously I'm going to say, okay, you take care of this. Can you just handle this for me? So in a way, let me put it in a way. All of my wives, they're like PAs when it comes to helping me manage certain areas in terms of business, if that's making sense. Do you get it? So she'll be the one who will be sort of like behind the scenes, but also helping me to say, okay, I think you should do this. I think you should do this. I think you should do this. So that's what I usually do. Remember, she's not doing it out of a selfish thing. If she's handling the money, that's when she's going to say, no, I think, can I think of something very practical?
Yeah.
Like I go to a deal, like today I'm with my second wife, right? So there's a deal. The reason why I was late for the podcast is because we were attending to a certain deal, right? So when we get the monies that come through, so my wife will be like, okay, so what are we going to do with this money, right? We the two of us. Then she's like, no, I think this baby needs, maybe someone's baby is another wife's baby. She needs these uniforms, or we haven't done this. So she's helping me. You understand what I mean? To say, okay, this is what needs to be done. What do you think? So by the time I go to the other wives and say, okay, this is what I've done, she's already completed 90% or probably almost 100% of the task. That's the benefit of being in a plural family. So then at the end of the day, it's just a matter of updating. Remember, I was telling you last time, We have all these different groups of our WhatsApp group. We have a school group where we discuss school runs, where we discuss uniforms, where we discuss. It's strictly we are discussing about our children. You know, this one needs school shoes. This one needs this one needs a new tie. You know, all those. Then we have a housekeeping group where where we are talking about groceries. You know, we have a entrepreneur, what we call the Theos group. You understand what I mean? And all these other divisions that we have broken down. So why these groups? When you do something about the school run, okay, or about the school, for example, you've bought uniforms and stuff like that, you update so that the other one, wherever they are, they're not going to duplicate. You understand what I mean? On the grocery shopping list, you just have to turn on the phone and just say, okay, someone has already bought meal and stuff like that, so it's fine. This is covered. So all the gaps, sort of like you have multiple people that are covering all these gaps. That's how it works.
What is so who assigns a home in terms of household chores?
They sit together. I was telling you last time, I have a group that, okay, it's not all groups that I think there's a group that my wives do have where they discuss things as women. You know, I don't know if I should keep that group. Maybe they might try to, you know, but if you get what I mean. So they have their own wives group where they discuss those things. You know, so it's like they will probably, someone will say, guys, let's have a meeting in the evening. You get it? Or someone, you know, they will just discuss whatever they want to discuss. When they are not in agreement or probably there's a conflict and stuff, that's where I come in. They'll be like, no, we are not agreeing with this. What do you think? Then probably I'll just send on the message or on the group or say, okay, let's have a meeting when we get home. Or let's meet somewhere. Usually we do that. Maybe during the day we would say, okay, let's meet by Avondale shops. So someone will be there, someone will be there, someone will be there. We meet, we have our little caucus meeting, and then we resolve what we want to resolve. Then everyone goes their way, then we can meet at home.
But paungana vaviri vatatu kashoma kuwirirana kuya ne one thing.
Definitely.
Yeah. So how do you navigate that?
We have a family policy. The oldest is the last say. If I'm not there, my first wife is the last say.
In everything.
In everything. If my first wife is not there, my second wife is the last say. Do you get what I mean? So when I come back and probably her last say she was wrong. You understand what I mean? Everyone, when she says this is the direction we are going, everyone has to go that direction, even if they know it's wrong, for the sake of respect and order. Then if she is wrong, then I'll come and say, sweetie, I think we're supposed to do this. Then I give her the platform to change the direction of the course. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. For order, this is the family policy. Even my kids, they know. The eldest, there's the last say. So if my kids are playing and the eldest say, let's go this direction, everyone goes that direction, even if they know it's wrong. Because remember, being the leader or being like, it does not mean I'm perfect. It means I've also got flaws. You understand what I mean? But for the sake of order, let's agree. You know, let's go this in the same direction. And then when we correct each other, that's also the same thing we use, the same standard. So like my first wife or my second wife, right? She makes probably a wrong decision. My third wife will be like, okay, can you address, I see it differently. Can you address it? Do you get it? So that's how we run it.
All right, you mentioned about kids. So who is the minister of discipline?
Dishon. Oh, minister of discipline. Yeah. I thought the minister of Msikanswa.
The minister of discipline. Let's say you are not around and your wives are around. Who is the minister of discipline?
We don't have a minister of discipline because the issue is in our family I've sort of put it in a way that I only remain the disciplinary, so that we minimize a lot of beating and what and unnecessary. So supposedly my kids have a problem, the one has to wait. Either they report to the mother or they have to report to me so that I instill discipline. Do you get it? So the way we've done it is, if this, we always laugh because we've noticed even the young ones. There's a conversation that my wife was telling me the other day where she overheard my kids saying, they were discussing and the kids were like, I'm going to tell you to Papa and he's going to beat the life out of you. She was my little girl. She was actually threatening the boys. You know, sort of like blackmailing. Like
Yeah, exactly.
she knows that if she reports, there's going to come discipline. Do you get what I mean? So we have all those, but the most important thing or the family policy is I retain the disciplinary action. I think it saves a lot. I didn't want to create a situation whereby each and every person is just random. Anyone can just hit anyone. No, we don't do that.
But do you believe in corporal punishment in terms of disciplining kids, or you believe in dialogue or something?
I use everything. I believe in dialogue. You know, I believe you should not. I strongly believe you should not always hit or spank the kid. Only do it when it's necessary. So after 3 or 4, maybe, sometimes 5 or 6, warnings, then I will say, okay, we are going to do spanking now. Then I'll spank you. Or sometimes we restrain privileges, for a season. I also we restrain privileges. There's spanking, and then there's what do you call it? What's the word? Where you punish them for a certain time, and then you release them.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what we do.
Or in terms of allowances, do you provide allowances for each wife, or do you just take in those in family trust?
Being the father and being the provider, it's my I feel it's my responsibility to always know what this wife wants, what this wife wants, what this wife wants, so that whenever the opportunity comes in, like what you're saying, the opportunity comes in, I know my wife wants this, I take advantage of that. You understand what I mean? So it's not like when I do this for her, then definitely I'm doing this for her. No. Everyone has got different needs. Everyone has got different expectations. So it's my responsibility to study each and every, and to know, not only to study, but to know that this one requires this one requires this one requires this. And then when the opportunity arises, I just eat. Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of cooking, who does the cooking?
All right. So all this that I'm
do you
discussing, we are just sharing as a family, right? Remember, I was telling you my wife have got a group.
Also, my question was also munobikira pamwe chete.
We use one kitchen. So we have also got house helps.
Okay, how many?
At the moment, we've got one. At the moment, we've got one. Currently, sometimes we have 2. It depends on the season. But in this season, usually we've got one. So what happens is she works hand in hand with the mother who's on the duty. To get it. And also the reason why we had a meeting recently when we decided to have one is because there are certain responsibilities that we've given our kids as young as they are. Like, for example, a mother has to manage the kids. They have to learn to do their own uniforms, like wash their own socks, and all those things. So we have sort of like taken certain responsibilities away from the house help and have given them to the kids under the supervision of the mother who's on the duty. So in the kitchen wise, what happens in the kitchen is the what do you call it? The mother who's responsible in the kitchen. Like today, we already know there's a mother who's responsible for the kitchen from morning till the day ends. Tomorrow there's another one from morning. So the other wives don't even think; they just help contribute. You understand what I mean? Like she's at work, probably she wants to buy beef and she's far away. She'll send on the group, can you bring me beef or something? And then she's working with the aunt. So we have like this timetable, this feeding timetable. What do you call it? Yeah, eating timetable. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So she'll be like with the aunt at 6 o'clock. This should be done. So she coordinates everything. So when I come home, supposedly, if I was to come home and the food was not, I'm not going to ask all of my wives. I'm going to say who's on the duty, and then this one is going to say wife number and what. And then that's the one I would ask. Why is that we are eating with this? Something like that.
All right, I know you read the Bible, but Matora because you are the modern day King Solomon. You must put it in that. In that. So, I no fall into the concubines.
No, no. No. Not even. No ways. And it's a big no. So my understanding of the modern day concubine is a small house. That's my understanding. Because remember, a small house is just an unofficial wife, and in the Bible, unofficial wife.
But which means also a small house can be in the house.
Sorry.
A small house can be in the big house, which means in that instance that Jehovah can be your concubine in the house.
And it's different now. I think it's different because here we are talking in terms of help, in terms of what do you call it? House duties, cooking and stuff like that, washing and stuff like that, not sexual duties. You get it? So for the modern day, for me, it's restricted. I don't, no, there's a boundary. We said boundary. And like I've said, my understanding of the concubines in the Bible in trying to relate to the modern day are the small house, because concubine was just an unofficial wife. It could be a woman from another tribe or something like that. Someone who's not like publicly recognized as a wife. That's the concubine. You understand what I mean? And they didn't come to be housemaids. They came to be wives. The only difference, they were not official. And wives in this case, I'm talking about sexual responsibility. You understand? Conjugal rights. They are conjugal rights, which is way different to the modern day maid. Okay, people, maybe we see it differently. The maids, for me, in the Bible, are different from the concubines. The concubines, in my understanding, are the small houses, because that's a wife that you sleep with. You understand? The only difference is not official. That's a concubine.
Well, but in the Bible, the concubines, their duty, they were like the maids, but their duty, the younger who satisfy in terms of sexual desires.
Remember, someone will be in the Bible. If you read scriptures, someone will be upgraded from a slave to a concubine to a wife. Those were stages. Let's not leave that there were women surrounding those men. That way, they didn't have the sexual privilege. They were just slaves. You understand what I mean? And there are regulations in the Bible regarding that. You just do not sleep with any woman and stuff like that. But the ones that you say, these are my women. So in this modern day context, it will be the wife, the small house, and then the slave. In this case, we no longer have slaves. Now we have garden boys and maids. Do you get what I mean? Yeah, that's my understanding.
All right, let's move on. How do you mold your kids in terms of gender roles? The boys, vanoita cards, vaskana, vanoita or everyone, anongoita anything.
No. I am pro gender. I am pro gender. I encourage boys to be boys, to become men. I encourage girls to be girls, to become women. That's how. So what we do, for example, mostly home duties, right? I encourage girls. You understand what I mean? Mostly men duties, like cutting the lawn, washing the cars. When I'm fixing the cars, I usually call my boys. Not that my girls don't, but you understand what I mean? Yeah, I try to make a distinction. It does not necessarily mean my girls cannot drive, cannot try in the pressure and stuff. They know, but the finer details and stuff, I reserve it for the boys. You understand what I mean? So, a typical example, on a weekend, I want to cut the lawn at home, I want to trim the bushes and stuff. I'll do it with my boys. I'll leave the girls to do the baking and the cooking with their mothers. You get it? So that they become wifely material, right? And also, when with the boys, I'm also trying to groom them so that they become men who are able to take care of the house. Changing bulbs, it's boys' duties, if that's what you're asking. Yeah. I would expect my boys to change the bulbs, things like that. The paintings and all that. I would expect my boys to do that. Then the ladies, they do more, the washing, the kitchen stuff. So yeah, I am for.
So these days, people are saying it's those gender roles must be abolished. A man must do anything. A woman
No,
must
I don't
do
believe in
anything.
that. I strongly don't believe in that.
Why?
It creates confusion. If you have been, I would encourage someone to watch what's happening in the Western world. I won't name countries, but there's a lot of confusion. You know, I mean, try to imagine right now here in podcast, and I'm going to the same loo with these ladies, beautiful ladies. I mean, that for me, I don't ascribe to that. You understand what I mean?
And we are
A man is a
imitating
man.
those people.
I am not. As for me and my family, I'm not. I would rather stay in the biblical sense, rather do the best I can to mold my family using the biblical standards and our own African cultural standards. That's my belief system. So I don't believe in my boys and my girls sharing the same toilet. I don't believe in that nonsense. For me, I would call it, I would give it the nonsense word. You understand what I mean? Yeah, I strongly believe men who don't get pregnant, women get pregnant. Saka, that distinction already, that biological distinction, for me, is clear enough that there are genders. There are two genders that were created.
All right, in your previous interview, you mentioned that some of your kids are now doing homeschooling. They are no longer going for our schools because their teachers, they are trying to force the monogamy family on them. So can you just take us through the process, why you made that decision, and isn't it that expensive?
Obviously, there are some sacrifices that have to be made. Like I had said, it was not only the reason that I removed some of my kids from the traditional schools, and it's not really per se, I would say, homeschooling. It's part homeschooling and part in the private. That's why you're saying,
right.
yeah. So what we've done is me and a couple of how do I put it? There's a circle of friends. If I may put it that way. We have a circle of friends in my circle. What we did is we in the process of establishing a private school. If I may put it that way. Yeah. I mean, we are almost in the final stages and stuff, and constructing and all that, all the things that are put in place. So when I moved my children from the traditional school, I then put them in the private school. So we have our own school where we have our own teachers, where we have our own principal and stuff like that. Then the group of it's a group of families. So this group of families, we are sort of like the co-directors, if I put it that way, where we make sure that the school is running this way. We have these meetings and stuff like that. So there are certain things that we have sort of like changed, if I put it that way, that are not necessarily traditional, if you get what I mean. So like the dynamic I was explaining last time, that sometimes we may say, okay, this week the teachers are going to be visiting, right? So the teachers will rotate on a rotational basis, and then they are teaching the kids in a homeschool environment, if I may put it that way. So this is sort of like how we sort of are doing it in terms of our educating our kids.
All right. In our previous interview, we touched on your entrepreneurship journey. But tell us, what's your secret? Because you seem you are doing a lot and you are in many businesses. Some of them, I can't mention them here, but you are in many businesses. So what's your secret?
I think you just have to be dynamic. You just have to be, you are supposed, as a plural man, you need to be someone who thinks outside the box. Understand what I mean? Because remember, you're taking care of different individuals with different needs. And the reason why probably I end up doing a lot of things is because I have the leverage of having many people with me. Do you get it? It's if I was, maybe when you're going to do a podcast with my first wife, she will explain better, or my second wife, she will explain better. We have an advantage of numbers. So if I decide to want to do this, I would probably give it to my first wife and she runs with it. You understand what I mean? We have a courier business, we have online shops and stuff like that. So each and every individual I assign, say, okay, you're going to do this. I may be the brains behind it, but I've got in quotes, a CEO who's running with it. So I'm probably in a way, in the most of them, I'm not actively like operations, but the operations aspect are the wives that are in charge of what? Of that. So we usually take advantage of the numbers. Remember, I was saying the multiple incomes. So when we try this, we try it as a family, right? A family business, right? But the one who's probably the one in charge has got a backing of all of us. The one who's doing this has got a backing of all of us. The one who's doing this has got a backing of all of us.
All right. As an individual, what are the major things that you do or personally that will keep your mind intact, that will prepare your mind for the entrepreneurship activities? Or in a small word, we can say your rituals that you do.
You mean to keep my mind insane?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you're asking what my timetable is like.
No. Things that you do regularly as an individual that you will put your mind intact in terms of business dealings, in terms of life, in terms of personal development.
I take time out. As funny as it sounds, I take time out. I have periods that I want to be by myself, to reboot myself. So I usually do that. Usually it depends on the kind of pressures, but I usually take time out as a father, if I may put it that way. And I take notes from the Bible as a king. Kings usually used to have their own time. Remember, Esther had to fast in order to see the king. So I think it's a principle whereby if you are running probably a family and stuff, you need time to reboot yourself. You need to be a good leader, and you need to do the things that a good leader is supposed to do. So if I'm ineffective as a leader, then I'm going to also damage the rest of the family. Some of the things that I do is I try to wake up early and have morning and evening walks. I don't run as often, but during that time I'm it's my mind which is, of course I'm walking. I may walk 10 kilometers, but it's, I'm de-stressing, I'm defragmenting things and stuff like that. For me, they are, nature walks, for me, they do well. I love them. So I hope I'm answering what you're asking.
Yeah, sure. Unfortunately, we are running out of our time. Okay. So this is my last question. Then I will invite your second wife to tell us. I'm going to ask her 5 random questions about the family. Then we will be done.
Okay.
So who is the Minister of Tourism? Who is the Minister of Tourism who decides where to go in terms of going out as a family?
I think we all decide, right? These are the questions for my wife now.
All right. So let's.
I think it's just someone who suggests, because remember they've got different tastes. So what happens is they'll be like, guys, what do you think of this place? Should we go? And then everyone will be like, someone will be like, no. Someone will be like, yeah. Then if we all agree, we put the resources together, we help each other, then we go to that place.
All right, we don't run out of our conversations, but we run out of our time. So now I'm inviting the second wife to have a small chat with her, then we will be done. All right, so we are joined by the second wife. So, Tanatswa, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I wasn't prepared.
I don't think with your family setup you need to be prepared, because I believe you always prepared. Because to my lives, in my vlogs, and you seem like I can just give you a minute to introduce yourself. Then I will ask you the few questions about the family.
Okay. I'm Tanata, like you say. Second wife to Gabriel. A mother of 16.
Well, in terms of finances, I know you was listening.
Yeah.
All right, in terms of decision, who decides? Or let's say, what's your feeling? Total show the first wife turns what Indiana say. Then say I school and what's your feeling on that? And how do you react?
Your question of who decide. We all decide and one person concludes. Like it's not like a tiramisu we are with a suggestion. We all suggest maybe. We all suggest. Then there any suggestion and any conclusion. Like in the kind of what do you think? What do you think? And it's a suggestion. Then go to a woman, I don't think what this is. And then part 3 from what this is. Like to remove priorities to prioritize which one. Then one of the all right. So I've done this good. Not with and so, but I was right that in Jake is a chat. No. To get up as a family. Then to turn what's the stuff. Then to not it may come up with a conclusion.
All right. If you wanted to provoke your husband, what would you do?
Disrespect him.
Would be disrespect only?
Yeah.
All right. So in terms of disciplining kids, how do you go about it as a parent? Of course, I had and stuff, which means I believe all kids are yours.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you handle it in terms of disciplining them?
In terms of discipline, it's something that I didn't know. My husband always it's something to which it's true.
Yeah, sure.
Imagine growing up with 4 parents. I'm going to go, what's a spoon? Shamu. Well, don't the cup, Shamu. Money and Nini. So we don't want to raise Nini. We want to raise one of
All right. If you are to rewrite your love story, if I might put it in that way, what would you change in terms of the family? Munororo after in a polygamous family or not? No, I'm done.
Maybe I wish I'd met him earlier.
Oh, was.
And not with our words. Not with our words. And I'm very happy where I am. I don't think I was going to be fit to do words because the patience and stuff I'm still learning. I don't think it would then get our words. They don't go
All right. If you can't sleep in the middle of the night, what would you do?
If I can't sleep, there are a lot of things to do.
What would you do?
You mean didn't they go?
Variable.
Variable.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wake him up, but I've got a lot of sisters. I've got